Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. As you know, I'm coming to you raw and uncut. And please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. SmackDown tonight. All right. Well, as you know, tomorrow we're going to be seeing Saturday night main event, and it's the last program for John Cena. You know, um, and I can go on, but I think I'm going to wait to make a video about John Cena and his retirement tour because we know now that it sucked. It was bad from the beginning, from the start. It was horrible, and I'm hoping that things change for this program and that John Cena would win, or something, because I think maybe The Rock might show up. There's some still what ifs, Is this honestly the last match for John Cena? Are they going to carry it out to WrestleMania? Maybe him and The Rock might do something. But I just don't see John Cena passing the torch to Gunther because to me, Gunther, is not that one. You know, that's my opinion. And I'm just saying, please leave a comment and everything. Let me know how you're feeling. And while you're leaving a comment, subscribe. Thank you. But anyway, that's just my little thought on the situation. But like I said, um, we'll see after tomorrow night how things go, and I'll put a video out on that. But today we're going to talk about SmackDown and how SmackDown was not all that good and stuff. There were some things. I mean, I think there might have been just one good match in this whole thing, maybe two. Just some things I could just say about the match and then just go on. But anyway, we're going to do a match by match and segment by segment. Okay, as we start off, you got Nick Aldis and everything talking about Drew McIntyre and stuff and about his suspension. So Drew McIntyre is gonna be, is gonna come back. I think they're just gonna drop the suspension and let him come back. But then there's this letter saying that, from Drew's attorney, because Nick Aldis said that he invited Drew to come talk to him, but he hasn't heard anything from Drew. But he had a letter from Drew's lawyers saying that SmackDown was an unsafe environment, for him, the show and stuff. And then, Cody comes, and so Nick is telling Cody what the letter says, and then Cody takes the letter and he, balls it up and stuff. And then Cody approaches the ring and stuff, and then basically saying that, you know, um, the way things have been going with Drew, as far as not, doing interviews and going on programs with the WWE, is because how Drew has been and everything. He's attacked some of the referees, gotten the announcers' faces and stuff like that. So, basically, there's no respect from Drew McIntyre. And Cody's saying that if he was his boss, that he would fire him, but he's not his boss and everything. But he can sure whip his tail, once they get the match. So, and as he's saying that, then out comes Oba Femi. And actually, Oba comes out to the ring. They stare at each other in the face real close and everything. Then, Oba introduces himself, to Cody and everything, and tell him that, you know, um, that he's the ruler, the destroyer, you know, um, and he's the bringer of war. You know, um, the mountain that Cody cannot climb and that he can't, conquer and stuff like that. So, Oba's, actually building himself up, which I think is pretty good, you know, and he's the guy that he's going to be facing, at Saturday night main event, as we know tomorrow night. Then Oba goes on saying that, the spirit of, Saturday night main event, has been pitched and, advertised, you know, that the present versus the future, which is him as the future and Cody as the present and stuff. Then he, goes on, saying that, you know, um, like everybody is, taking the future, you know, as a distant thing that can't anyone see, but he's the one that people need to fear and stuff. But I mean, it was pretty good, outing for Oba and everything, and he did a pretty decent, for the where he's at, on SmackDown and the bigger crowd than what he sees in NXT. I mean, he did well, and I think tomorrow night is going to be a good match between him and Cody and stuff. And I like the fact that for tomorrow night on Saturday Night Main Event that they do have a lot of the NXT roster going up against the main rosters of Raw and SmackDown and stuff. So it should be interesting tomorrow and stuff. So, and then after that, we get a little backstage with Fraxium talking to Ilja Draganov, saying that, in his match that he has with Tomaso Ciampa, that if anything goes down, they got, Ilja's back and stuff. So they go out to the ring, Tomaso Ciampa versus Ilja Dragunov. That match for the United States title, which is an open challenge match, that Ilja does. The match is pretty good. It was very hard hitting. Them chops, man, oh my word. You know, um, it was a pretty good. They were doing all right. It was good until Johnny Gargano, you know, came out to interfere, and then Candice, LeRae, Johnny's wife, come out, and she interfered into the match and everything. And Tommaso Ciampa hits Ilja with a knee. Oh man, it was devastating. But Ilja, kicks out of that and stuff, and then as they're going, Ilja rolls up Tommaso Ciampa for the pin and everything. And then Johnny and Tommaso start jumping on Ilja and start beating him down. Then out comes Carmelo Hayes, for the save, which is great and stuff. I'm glad what they're doing as far as Carmelo is concerned. Giving Carmelo, I think they're going to give Carmelo a real good push. He's actually been coming out doing and getting involved and stuff. I mean, he, made it to the main roster about 2 years ago. I mean, he had a couple of good matches at the beginning, but then this just was nothing, out of sight, out of mind. But every now and then, and so I'm really glad. The crowd was in it. Mello, they were calling chanting his name and stuff like that. So I'm thinking that soon Carmelo Hayes is going to probably get one of these titles, either the IC title or the US title. It's going to be one of them. So I think it'll probably be the US title first. But I'm glad that they're pushing Camilo Hayes. Triple H finally has done something right, or it seems like he's doing something right with it, because it could all get dropped in the trash, as far as, Triple H is concerned, as far as how he's been booking and writing these shows. But anyway, Ilya Dragunov wins and retains the title and stuff. Then we have a little Miz and Javon Evans backstage, you know. Javon Evans calls Miz his uncle, and then Miz gets a little bit mad and says he's not his uncle and don't call him that. But yet, after the Miz finished talking all his crap, he calls Javon Evans his nephew and stuff. But then after that, we get this crazy thing with the Wyatt Six, and Solo Sokoa and the MFTs and stuff. Basically, Uncle Howdy is saying that the MFTs and Solo Sokoa, are out of their minds, saying that they're the SmackDown, that they run SmackDown and everything, that's going on and stuff. And, he kind of reminds them that they don't run anything because who's holding the belt, you know? And then the Y6 tells, Solo and the MFTs, hey, if you want these tag team titles, then come get them. And then we get the MFTs and Solo Sokoa, and Solo, says that, hey, we're not going to be doing things on your terms. You thought we were going to come out to the ring because you're out there and stuff like that. No, it's nothing like that. You know, um, basically he's telling Howdy, that come and they're gonna come get the titles. They're gonna take the titles. But the best thing for them, you know, is to hand over the titles and stuff, because if they don't, you know, they can run and stuff, some, basically like that. And it's just, just I don't know. I don't get it between these two groups and stuff, because there's really nothing that's been burning that would make you want to go see anything from either one of these groups and stuff like that. They took Solo from where he was, as far as, the bloodline was concerned and stuff like that. And once that kind of died down, and that's it. Solo's been down to the bottom, and he's actually been like a jobber and stuff. He's not going after a single title. He's making sure that, the MFTs, get the title. But anyway, we'll see what happens with that. Right now, it's looking like it's not good, not good at all. And if you agree or disagree, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share. Leave a comment. Let me know how you feel and stuff. And then we got Ripley, talking to Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, saying that her and Io Sky, are going to be the ones that are going to get, the shot at the tag team um, titles and stuff that the Kabuki Warriors hold at this present time and stuff. So, and then from there, um, we get the match with Alexa Bliss and Lash Legend. And I tell you, this was a pretty good, I mean, not for Alexa Bliss, it wasn't good, but it was good seeing Lash Legend. Lash Legend, she came out and did her thing like she was supposed to. She was the bigger woman and stuff. She was supposed to, I mean, she destroyed Alexa Bliss in this match and stuff. At a point, Nia came in to try to interfere. Charlotte came and drops Nia, and then Lash, Legend, she ended up dropping Charlotte Flair and stuff. And then she gets in, continues to beat down Alexa Bliss, and then hits Alexa Bliss with the Lash extension and wins the match and stuff. And then we get The Miz and Javon Evans. The match was all over the place. It was a pretty decent match also. Javon Evans, I'm here to tell you, he is going to be a superstar and stuff. They keep him going, he's going to be a superstar. But I think all that flying and everything is nice and, and good. But there's got to be some technical skills that are in there too. He's got to, do some ring movement and stuff. I mean, the flying and stuff is good. Tomorrow night, I can't wait to see him and Leon go up against Dragon Lee and AJ Styles. That's going to be a pretty entertaining um, match for the tag team titles and stuff like that. But be prepared, because it's going to be fast and stuff. And then we got Rhea and Jay Cargill with the stare down. So I'm thinking Rhea might end up moving to SmackDown. I don't know how they're gonna do all that and stuff, um, because I think somewhere it's got to happen that Bianca Belair shows back up. I don't know when she's gonna show up and stuff, but I'm hoping that Bianca Belair shows up at the Royal Rumble. She's been out. I mean, she's been out for a while now. I mean, I think it was the PLE right after. I think it was right after she broke her hand. She broke her finger in at WrestleMania. Then she refed the match with the broken hand, and after that, we haven't seen her. And that was when Io Sky and go figure. That's when Io Sky and Rhea Ripley were going at each other. But anyway, and then they had the 3-way and stuff, triple threat and stuff. So, but anyway, um, Bianca needs to come back. Where is she? And then we got Jay Cargill heading out to the, actually meeting and stuff, coming out talking all that smack and everything about how she's gonna be Jade, and Jade thinks she's it and all this other stuff, and then all of a sudden she gets attacked and gets blown out by Jade Cargill and stuff, and then Jade comes out to the ring, and she reminds everybody in the back that she's that B and stuff, and then out comes Meechin, with the kendo stick and stuff. She attacks, Jade with the stick and everything. She tries to pull it like, she's gonna put out a table and put Jade through it, but we know that wasn't going to happen and stuff. And then, Jade gets her and beats her up and stuff like that, throws her in the ring, takes the table. You would think Jade would put the table in there to put Meechin through it, but nope, she throws it right back under the ring, which is a classic, perfect heel move to do because the audience wants it and she didn't give it to them and stuff. So she goes back into the ring and she trashes. She trashes Meechin and stuff. But that was good for her. She walks off. She is the bad bee of the women's division. Who's going to get in there? Who's going to stop her? Who's going to stop her? If you know who's going to stop her at this point right now, at the way Jay Cargill is moving, let me know. Please subscribe. Please leave a comment. Let me know how you feel and stuff. And then we get this disastrous, sorry main event. Oh my word. We have Alister Black and Zalina Vega versus Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. And let me tell you, Zalina Vega, she's done. She's cooked. All the botches that she had in this ring was just ridiculous. I mean, yeah, it was bad, And then even Damian Priest and Alistair Black, they didn't bring nothing to the match either. It was not exciting. I think I took a little nap between the match and everything. I don't know, my brother-in-law, said, I think I heard him say my name. And then I woke up and the match was still on and stuff. And I'm like, man, this match is boring. And Zelina Vega is messing up all over the place, man. She missed so many, man, it was so many spots and moves that she really, really blew. But anyway, um, Rhea gets the riptide on Selena and pins her 1, 2, 3, and Damian Priest and Zelina Vega wins that match and stuff. So that's your SmackDown for tonight. Hopefully tomorrow night everything is going to be good. I like the matches that are going. Like I said, I like the NXT brand going up against the main rosters and stuff like that. It should be a pretty good. Um, it should be pretty good. And I'm hoping, and I'm hoping, and I'm hoping that Triple H pulls the plug on John Cena's retirement, at least until WrestleMania, and that John Cena hopefully beats Gunther, because I would hate for him to be the one that they pass the torch to, because Gunther is not that man. Gunther is not that man. I keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm not going to stop saying it. Gunther is not that one and stuff. But anyway, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, leave a comment. Let me know how you're feeling. And thank you for watching. God bless. Deuces. And I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.